What's up guys, it's Tom here and welcome to the Newcastle Manchester City post-match video, and also we will preview the Liverpool Leicester City game and let's talk about the title race. But first of all, let me say a massive thank you to Newcastle United, to Rafa Benitez for beating Manchester City, and that was an incredible game because I was watching only the highlights this morning because yesterday I wasn't at home, and after Man City scored, after 30 seconds, I really thought that this game is over. They will score the second and third, but Newcastle defended really resolutely, and Manchester City, as I said, they are not as good as last season. They already lost 4 games this season, and only one of those 4 games came against a fellow top 6 side, Chelsea. They lost to Leicester, Crystal Palace and Newcastle United. So this Manchester City team is definitely, not the invincible, almost perfect side that won the Premier League last season. So let me know guys, do you think that Liverpool will win the Premier League title or not? I still think that Liverpool can also lose some games easily, just like Manchester City, but this Liverpool team have a never say die attitude, and we can win ugly, we can win games where we are not playing well. It seems that if Manchester City are not playing well, they drop points, and that's a huge advantage for Liverpool in my opinion in this title race. And also Liverpool so far have beaten all the sides who are not in the top 6 this season, so that is also a massive advantage. But Leicester City, who Liverpool hosts tonight at Anfield, will be a tough game, a tough team, but Liverpool have a massive opportunity to make it 7 points in the title race, 7 points clear in the title race, and that is huge at this stage because Liverpool don't play Manchester City again this season, which means that Man City can't really affect the title race. Liverpool just have to concentrate on themselves from now on. And also Manchester City have a brutal fixture list coming up. They play Arsenal, then Everton, they play Chelsea, then they play Schalke, they play Chelsea in the League Cup final, and then then West Ham, and that is a really big run of fixtures for Manchester City. And I can see Manchester City dropping points against either Arsenal, Everton or Chelsea, or possibly even 2, maybe even 3 of it in those games. So Liverpool could, if we could win the next few games, we play Leicester, then we play West Ham, and then we play Bournemouth if I'm not mistaken, and after that the big one, Manchester United at Old Trafford. So if Liverpool can win the next 3 or 4 games, we will have a massive advantage in the title race, I feel. So come on boys, let's do it. Pep Guardiola was distraught after the Newcastle game, but first of all I just wanted to say a massive thank you to all the Newcastle fans, all the Newcastle supporters. They played a big part, and they were actually singing Liverpool at the end of the Newcastle Manchester City game, which is a top class gesture. And Rafa Benitez, who is already a Liverpool legend, could have a massive say in this title race, because that defeat that they inflicted on Manchester City, that could be the difference between Liverpool winning their first Premier League title or not. And Guardiola himself said after the game, 7 points is a lot of points. Liverpool's advantage is it's not huge, but it's there. We have to win a lot of games now, but if we want to keep going up as a club, we have to accept the challenge. We are in January and we are behind the leaders, but there are a lot of trophies and points to play for. I know how my players are feeling right now, and I'm close to them and by them. But so you can see that Pep Guardiola is really hurting, and he admitted that Manchester City were not in top form in that game, and Rafa Benitez masterminded an absolutely brilliant tactical victory over Manchester City and Pep Guardiola. Because if you consider that the whole Newcastle team cost about £40 million, that is less than one player that Manchester City fielded against them, and he still beat Manchester City, so that is a massive achievement. And I really hope that Newcastle United gets sold to a wealthy owner, because if Rafa Benitez is given funds, he could work even more miracles at Newcastle United. And I genuinely believe that if a new owner came in and spent money at Newcastle, then they could challenge for a Europa League place, and maybe in the long term, maybe even get in the Champions League in the next 5 years, because Rafa Benitez is still very good manager in my opinion. So Benitez said after the game, we had a game plan, it was not to concede a goal in the first minute, the reaction of the players was important. We said at halftime to stay in the game, the fans appreciate how we played and the way we won against a very good team. We stuck with our game plan, so that was vital for Newcastle. They, even after conceding after just 30 seconds, they didn't panic, the heads didn't drop, they kept at it, they kept the game plan, they kept it tight. They didn't let Manchester City create a lot of chances, and yes, they missed some chances. I mean, you know, Raheem Sterling, Leroy Sané, both should have maybe scored a goal each, and Aguero could have had 2 or 3 goals as well. But Man City were not as good as they normally are. And if you consider that Manchester City scored 28 goals and conceded none since beating Liverpool up until the Newcastle game, they were in their best run of form. But yes, you have to admit as well that they played some smaller sides as well, but Manchester City were in a terrific run of form, and especially in the League Cup, in the FA Cup. I mean, they beat Burton 9-0, they beat Rotherham 7-0, they beat Burnley 5-0, and yeah, they beat Wolves and Huddersfield, but they haven't beaten any like really strong sides. But as I said, when Newcastle conceded in the first minute, I honestly thought that this Manchester City team, with the form that they are in, they would steamroll them, and it wasn't to be. And when you miss a couple of chances, maybe the doubts are creeping into the Man City players. And even before the game, Pep Guardiola admitted that Manchester City might have to break their own points record that they set last season. They might have to get to 101 points to win the Premier League title ahead of Liverpool this season, and that just shows that the pressure is really on Manchester City, and was on since Liverpool started the season so well. In the first like 10-12 games we collected a lot of points, and that is now a completely different season for Manchester City. Last season at this point they were like 15 points clear and they were cruising, and even when they had some tough games and tough moments in the season, they knew that they can lose 2 or 3 games here and there, and still they would coast through to the title. This season it's a completely different game, both mentally and physically, and when you know that you just cannot make a mistake, even when you concede a goal, like the Manchester City did against Newcastle, I think the mentally they didn't cope well, because Fernandinho made a stupid error, like turning into the Newcastle player, and then you know, in a rash challenge he gave away a penalty, and Newcastle converted that penalty to take the lead and win the game. And as I said, Man City, the pressure is really getting to Manchester City. The big question now is that will Liverpool cope with their own pressure? It's a different pressure to Manchester City's pressure, but it's a big pressure as well, because Liverpool have never won the Premier League title. We haven't won a league title since 1990, so almost 30 years. And this is a completely different pressure, completely different scenario. But I think Liverpool will never have a better chance, a better scenario than this season. The squad is really good, really together, really strong. Even when we have some injury problems, there are players waiting on the bench to come in and make a contribution. And every hairy moment, maybe apart from the Manchester City game, it has gone Liverpool's way, if you think about it. The Merseyside derby, when we got a very lucky goal to win in the 95th, 96th minute, and other games where maybe Liverpool could have lost. Chelsea, we equalized away at Chelsea in the 90th minute through Daniel Sturridge and other games where it has gone Liverpool's way. But I think we deserve it. We have played the best football in terms of results, and sometimes the best football in terms of performances in patches, but we haven't played, it's strange to say, but we haven't played as well as we have last season, but we are miles better. We are already 13 points better than at this stage last season. We would be where Chelsea are right now if we had the same points total as last season. We have 60 points right now, and last season we had 47 at this stage, a massive improvement. But the pressure is now on Liverpool. Can we hold our breath, and can we make this opportunity, this glorious opportunity handed to us, count? Can we make it count? Can we really start to dominate this Premier League title race and get a firm grip on the Premier League title race? Because I feel that this game against Leicester is potentially our biggest game of the season, because not just physically but especially mentally it would be so important for the players, for the whole club, for the fans, for Jurgen Klopp to win this game and to put that 7-point gap between ourselves and Manchester City. That would feel like a really massive step in this season, because so far, up until the Newcastle Man City game, Man City knew that Liverpool needed to drop 2 games to cut the deficit. Now, if we win against Leicester, that will go to 3 games. So even if we drop points in 1 game, Manchester City will know that they are still quite far away from us. And the defense was a little bit of a concern. But Van Dijk, it looks like he trained yesterday, he trained the day before yesterday after his illness. So it looks like he will be fit. And also it looks like Lovren is fit as well, so it's either Lovren and Matip at the heart of the defense next to Van Dijk, and also Fabinho most likely will play right back and Robertson will play left back. Wijnaldum is also back from a small injury, which is very good because Milner is suspended, and we have other small injuries as well into the squad. Mane, Salah and Firmino thankfully are fit and in top form, especially Mohamed Salah. So I'm really looking forward to the Liverpool-Leicester game, because the guys, this is honestly one of the biggest games in Liverpool's season, because as I said, it's a monumental. The 7-point lead would be massive at this stage, and maybe Manchester City would start to concentrate on the Champions League, on the League Cup final and on the FA Cup, because Guardiola knows that he wants to win multiple trophies with Manchester City, not just the Premier League. And maybe he will start resting some players in the Premier League to focus on the Champions League if he feels that Liverpool are 7, 8, 9, even 10 points clear. At that point, I don't think Man City will go as hard in the Premier League as they can. And in my opinion, it's a 2-horse race. Yes, Tottenham are still there, but they are at the moment, how many? Like 9 points behind, plus a much worse goal difference, which is effectively 10-point gap. And Tottenham's squad is decimated at the moment with injuries and very tired players. So I'm not sure if Tottenham can make up that 10-point difference. And Manchester City could be dragged back actually if they don't perform like they can in their top form. They could lose some points against Arsenal and Chelsea, and if either of those teams beat Manchester City, then the top 4 race could be blown wide open, because Arsenal and Man United are very close to Chelsea at the moment in the top 4 race, and Manchester City are not that far away from them either. So it will be very interesting second half of the season. Really looking forward to it. And Jurgen Klopp also said some very interesting things about Mauricio Pochettino. He said, I know that people probably didn't like what Pochettino said in this moment, but it's so easy looking from outside. From a club point of view, the best thing to win is the Premier League. It's great to win cups as well, but they don't guarantee you money for next year. That's why top 4 is so important. You should ask the owners what they think. If you win silverware one year and then finish 8th the next year, no one talks about the silverware anymore. At a club like Liverpool, we have we always have to go for everything. It's really important to be in the Champions League next year. And Pochettino said that it doesn't matter if you perform well. What really matters is being involved in all 4 competitions. Ironically, Pochettino said that just before Tottenham got knocked out in the League Cup semi-final, and they got knocked out in the FA Cup by losing to Crystal Palace. So those comments really came back to haunt Pochettino, and it wasn't the best timing to say those things. But Pochettino also said that that Tottenham can't go out and spend 150 million on players like Liverpool. But what he forgets is the main reason why Liverpool could afford to spend so much money in the past few transfers windows is because of the sale of Philippe Coutinho and other players. We sold some fringe players as well for big money, and the main reason is that, I mean, the net spend of Jurgen Klopp and Pochettino is not that far apart. It's the difference is something like 64 million pounds, if I remember correctly. And on the other hand, you know, he should compare the Tottenham net spend to clubs like Chelsea, Manchester City and Man United, because their net spend is way higher than Tottenham. And if you compare where Tottenham are as a club right now, if you compare that to Man United and Chelsea, Pochettino is doing a brilliant job. But sooner or later he has to start winning trophies. Otherwise, some of his big players, I feel, will move to other clubs. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. See you later, guys. Goodbye.